Alrighty. How is it going on a rainy, cold Sunday? But it's all right because got football later. The best day of football in the year, you could say, conference championships. So they go Greystone. I don't think I've heard your name before. Hello, Ross Gerber is meet Kevin when he grows up. Fair point. Very fair point. Ross Gerber would love to be meet Kevin. I think honestly, I think he would love to be meet Kevin is a younger, more successful version of Ross Gerber, maybe. I don't know. We don't know exactly what Ross Gerber's net wealth is actually. British Warren is here. Dan Weston's solo. Yes. Apparently, I can't talk about Tesla anymore because I was incorrect about cars freezing in a parking lot. So, okay. So I was debating if I should do two parts, but you know what? Talk about it once because I have all the tabs open and it's all related. So we'll start out with Ross Gerber, the person that it's just some things I'll talk about because I kind of followed him for a while. So I was a bored stay-at-home worker during the you know what market. I can't say that word anymore. My last video got demonetized because you cannot say a certain word about a certain thing that happened to the world for 2 years. A certain virus. Oh, that might have been too far. So, anyways, we'll start out. I thought this was kind of fun. I was just killing time till anybody wanted to come in. So this is like one of the oldest videos on his channel. And I think this is an interesting segue because I was like, okay, what about stuff before the current version of him during this, clown market? So this is like one of the first videos from his channel, which I thought was kind of interesting. We'll play a bit of it. So this is him.
Most people don't
Financial wealth
realize that time is your friend when you're investing. Over long-term periods of time, the stock market has always gone up. If you hold investments for a minimum of 10 years, your chances of success is something like 98%. It's really important to understand that time is your friend. It's not your enemy.
We're starting out good.
Into such short-term mentality.
Yes, short-term mentality.
That I think that most people don't realize, hey, if it's a good investment, the longer you hold it, the more chance you're going to be successful with it.
Totally a fact. It's been studied to death. The longer you hold indexes, broadly diversified indexes, the greater your likelihood of gains, right? So the longer you hold them. So I think it's like once you get to 10 years, like 90 something percent of people have made money, even if you bought in the worst timing. So the longer you hold equities, the better your returns get, which is the opposite of gambling. The longer you gamble, the worse your freaking return is going to be because the house advantage will take you. So it's like the opposite. It's inverse. So we're off to a good start.
So time is your friend in investing. Go out. What are the best companies in America? What are the companies that are making the most money and growing that profit pie? Those are usually good investments. So you don't have to overthink this whole process. And I think that's a really important thing, that some of the best investments are right under your eyes.
Good companies are good investments. That's his next rule. So it sounds like a quality investor. Okay. He's kind of saying pick good companies and roll with them. So, okay. Got that point. Next point.
In the end,
don't listen to stock tips.
Telling you for a reason.
Interesting
and
point
that reason
from him
is
10
usually
years ago.
Not per se to help you make money. It's not that they're trying to.
He's in the business of giving stock tips and wealth management.
There's just no reason why you would think 13 years old.
And then next step, cut your losses.
No stock investor is right.
Ross Gerber
and in
cuts
fact,
stuff really fast.
None of us are right all the time. I've been investing in the stock market.
He said it before.
13 years old.
This is how
one of the lessons
go south on him.
Most important is cut your losses.
It's not
really important. We have very strict rules.
I mean,
if a one basket.
Next one.
It's really important.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Several different companies.
Wealth managers
not just
should
one.
be giving you that.
You might really like this one company, and you own.
Through last piece of advice.
I can't.
Of course, he's going to tell you to get professional help because he's in the business of giving you professional help with investing. And I mean, some people could use some probably professional help, but we will show later what kind of professional help that his firm has given somebody allegedly. So interesting point by him. So this is him before. Let's switch up. So we're just talking about Ross Gerber, the person, for now. So he was a long-term Tesla shareholder. That is true. This is like he did an interview from, this is an example from 2018. Um, I think this was when Elon got in trouble about some of the statements he was saying with the SEC. This might have been when he said he was going to go private. So he went on TV and Ross Gerber was like bashing the board because they were coming down on Elon. So just to show he was a Tesla investor before 2020, not just when it started to run. So fair enough point by him. I'm not going to show this. I might get in trouble for Bloomberg. So he long term, he had a wealth firm, long term Tesla shareholder. So now we get into the I guess we talk about like my experience, like watching him. I will note and I will prove to you, he deletes shit all the time. Okay. So there's a lot of things I remember him doing on television and having on his Twitter and his YouTube channel from some of his discussions. So I was going to try and pull clips that I could show you of things he's discussed about what GK was going to be. And he did a launch video GK talking about the goals, some of his mockery of Kathy Wood. But it's all gone. I'll be honest, it's all gone. He has privatized and deleted all those videos. There's not a lot for me to show you. He's done a very good job of meet Kevin isms, I guess. He's hiding it actively. And he didn't do it like come out like meet Kevin just delete his channel, but you know, I can show proof here when we talk that a lot of stuff is gone. So some of the things I can tell you about him is that he's got this very specific agenda now. It's even beyond Tesla. He has this very specific agenda, and he's rambled on about this during his GK ETF annual or monthly calls, which I don't even know if he does them anymore. He was more than willing to do those until now that the fund's performing like crap. Now all of a sudden he doesn't want to talk about it. So he would ramble about he doesn't want to invest in oil because oil is giving money to the dictators and tyrants of the Middle East and Putin funding that. So he has a very politically motivated methodology of investing. He is all about climate change, activism. So these are things you should know if you're going to invest with him. He has very aggressive agenda, let's say, for climate change and technology innovation. He wants to be the guy that's in all the he wants all his, you know, he wants to be in all these buckets, all the hot buckets, right? Innovation, climate change, electric cars. He wants to be part of all these discussions. But he also wants to manage your money, which is where I think it gets kind of weird. Like, is he doing things as in the best interest of his clients and people that would give and people that he's managing their money with GK? Is he really working on your behalf for your return, or is he more focused on his own agenda with his media appearances? The fact that he goes to, you know, Tesla's conferences and he does different various media obligations. So, and he's like that specific type of guy that goes on TV to talk about climate change, EVs, innovation, marijuana stocks. So it's this weird split of the like he doesn't have a fiduciary responsibility to you. There's no way, because he could not have a fiduciary responsibility to you in this case. So here's something. This is so that somebody put this on the Boglehead ETF. They tried to link one of his videos to talk about. He was saying that index funds, and he did say this: index funds won't have high enough returns to fund retirement. Of course, he's going to say this. He's in the business of creating portfolios to try and beat the market. GK exists as an active managed portfolio. It's not trying to match a benchmark index's performance. It's trying to beat the indexes. So, of course, he would claim index funds are a bubble or don't return. Then you click this video, and it's gone. This video is private. So this is just one example. So he says that he rambles and he'll say stuff like this, and then it gets privatized. So there's no record of it. You get like his media videos on his page because he doesn't say the crazy stuff he used to say on during the certain clown market. So this is who he is. He says like all sorts of crazy stuff. He got in trouble with Tesla people because Tesla people were pissed because when Elon was accused of being anti-Semitic and some other underperformance quarters that Tesla's had, he's gotten pissed off and he rambles on about how much he doesn't like what they're doing at Tesla. He wanted a seat on the board. So this is like the stuff he does. Like, come on, let's be real. Like, he wasn't trying to get on the board. It was like for attention in the media. And then he claims that he met with Tesla and they appreciated his input. I have seen nothing of what he suggested to them that they've actually implemented. And then when he pulled out, like, this article is funny. It's like, okay, why did he pull out of his proxy fight attempt to get on the board of Tesla? And his comment, it's not really that fun to be on a board. So it's like he just like is it a political stuff? Like, why did you pursue the board if you weren't really that serious about it? Um, so this guy is just like a media attention, grabbing person to some degree. He loves being in the spotlight. I think that's pretty clear at this point. So some other things that probably pissed off people, that a lot of people don't like Ross now. I think his wife, he bought his wife a Rivian. He made a big deal about announcing how he was going to sell a Tesla and he was going to go with Rivian, and he liked Rivians and he thought they were cool. He did confirm, I believe, that he bought his wife a Rivian. I think he still drives a Tesla. So just like, who cares? This is grandstanding stuff, but he's got to be like the Tesla guy. So here's another. This was a clip of him talking about Arcimoto. This was one of his monthly GK calls, which you can't find. They're not on the internet. They're privatized. Okay. So she clipped like him talking about Arcimoto, which we'll talk about a few different things I could find about Ross and things he's pushed. So here's the full video. So Boomer Mom put it in there, and you can find this on her page, right? I clicked the full video. There you go. Another example. The video is private, so you can't find this stuff. So all the crazy stuff he used to talk about is gone. So it tells me that he's aware that some of the stuff he said was nonsense, or maybe somebody at his firm was like, dude, you can't leave this stuff on the internet. Like the rambling he would talk about. Oh, some of it was crazy. But like, here's an example. So Arcimoto was in GK. So it was this stupid 3-wheeled little buggies for like beach bums, right? Like, you could get in these little electric 3-wheeled vehicles and you could ride around like the beach town, I guess. And he thought it was going to be this great business. And it's like, here again, did he really think it was a great business, or did it just fit into his climate change electric vehicle future innovative narrative that is what Ross Gerber has become? Because I can go look at this stock, and it's gone. He either has a tiny bit left, or he either has a little microscopic holding, or he sold out of it completely in GK. I think he sold all of it, but you can see the performance. I mean, it's basically gone. This stock will be wiped out. I mean, maybe not bankrupt, but this is the end of his stock, penny stock territory. So failure. Was this in the best interest of his clients to invest in something like this? I looked at the financials of this company once, and I thought it was a pile of dog. You know what? I didn't see the investment thesis at all in something like this. Like, how do you scale a 3-wheeled electric vehicle buggy? I don't understand what the potential is of that. So that was a big, that was a stinking L for him. Again, none of these people have fiduciary responsibility to you, but like, Ross really is not looking out for your best interest with his fund, I would argue. It's about his agenda. So his investments in GK represent his own, beliefs, let's call it. And I would highly suspect they don't really correlate to you. You're investing in it to produce hopefully a good return that beats the market. Otherwise, why would you take on the increased fees? Why wouldn't you just buy the SP 500? So, but he has other agendas, I would argue, other than just making money with GK. I don't think that's his necessarily number one goal with GK. Okay. It's like a blunt instrument to push his political beliefs, in my opinion. So some other things that we can look at for Ross. So she Boomer Tesla Mom doesn't like this guy. I don't know what falling out. I'm assuming it's all the bashing of Elon that Ross has been doing because of Elon's shenanigans. She doesn't like him at all. So she's really been bashing that he's been selling lots of Tesla stock in GK. And, they're like, so he's been selling Tesla shares. He bought his wife a Rivian, which he did confirm that. So, the Tesla community is not a fan of this guy anymore. I would think. What else do we want to talk about with him before we'll switch over to talking about the ETF? Let's see. Question. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he's a billionaire, because he's this wealth management firm he runs, and then he has his own individual, which if he's been a Tesla holder for long term, which he has, then even when the price drops, he's done just fine with it. And I'm pretty sure he's doing just okay in life. So that's part of the like, he's very wealthy. So he doesn't need outstanding returns. Maybe he'd rather just be Ross Gerber, the Tesla climate change guy, that's on TV all the time. Maybe that's what he wants to be at this point in his life. He likes the spotlight. It's more than apparent he likes the spotlight. He was on Meet Kevin's show more times than you can count. He would do when Tesla would have like big $20-$40 days, he would have like a Tesla whiskey live stream, and he would just chat it up. And that was like the time of his life. And those are fun to watch. So like, I don't know if he has your best interests in line. If you look at like his investments, if he secured the bag, maybe he's just doing that. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm going to talk about this in a second. Yes. Cover up the lies, delete the videos. Yeah. They're all of his GK monthlies are private. All his videos that he rambled about like oil companies in Saudi Arabia, all gone. The launch video of GK on his YouTube channel, because there's a video on his advisor page, but like he did a launch video to talk about it, and then he talked about like what GK was going to be, gone. So I don't know. It's just like crazy. He hides his tracks very well. Okay. So some other stuff we can show. So they're like, this guy, this is hilarious. So this guy listed like some of the rambling claims, and like literally he would spend like 30 minutes of his monthly calls just rambling. And then he would go over each of his investments in the fund. Then he would take questions, which I asked him a few questions occasionally on there. So this guy kind of posted like some of the stuff that Ross wrote or said during one of these, I think it was the June meeting, that are like wrong. It's kind of funny. Like, Rivian RS1, not the name. Rivian costs twice as much as a Model Y, not quite. Challenger space shuttle accident killed 4 or 6. It was 7. Last major U.S. plane crash 2001, not even close. So there's some people that are like kind of out to get him to some degree. And then you got like this stuff recently. Gary Black, man, that's going to be. I don't dislike Ross Gerber as a person. I get him. Like, am I going to buy GK? No, but I get him. I get why he is who he is, and he's successful. It's good for him. Gary Black. I should do a different video, man. Gary Black is a effing clown. I really don't like that guy, and I think he's just a complete asshat. So I shouldn't swear. Maybe I'm going to get demonetized again, but that's a separate video. Because this guy's like Gary Black and Ross Gerber are like two kids. Ross is like the one who showed up not knowing there was an assignment, just looked over at Gary and copied his mindlessly, but fails to realize that Gary also tried and is a total idiot. It's kind of what I feel about some of the interactions they have online, because they don't know how to deal with what's happening with Tesla right now. They're both trying in their own ways to have copium. Okay. So this guy, somebody mentioned this, where the beach body. Okay. You can pull this up. So, because Meet Kevin deleted the video, but since it was part of their the SPAC, it's an SEC filing. So Meet Kevin had Ross Gerber and the sponsor of Beachbody on Meet Kevin's channel, and there's a transcript of it because it's required. So you can look at this. So Ross Gerber was part of the Beachbody SPAC, which came out. So he wasn't a sponsor, but he did help push the guy, this Kevin Meyer, and there was another sponsor. So he was putting them in front of the cameras, right, to push Beachbody. So Ross Gerber did have shares of Beachbody. I know he sold them because he said it about in a video that's gone now. So we can look at Beachbody. This is another stock that Ross Gerber invested in, like Arcimoto. And we can see they did a reverse stock split. That's why the shares might not, because this was a penny stock. This was like 20 cents a share last I looked. Now they did a reverse split because it's performed. This is objectively the worst performing SPAC I've ever seen, but beyond the ones that have already gone bankrupt. So it's literally dead, 99% down. That's now 2 investments that he's been part of that have objectively been a complete failure. For you, he might have made money, but you didn't. So lovely. The other part. So here's again, he was part of Okamoto. Now of course, he had to be part of Polestar because Polestar is an EV company. He's got to be Ross Gerber, the EV guy, right? He wants climate change to be fixed. He hates oil, pushing this agenda. So he had to meet the Polestar. He had videos talking about he thought Polestar was a good car. He did start a position in GK also with it. I don't know if he has it right now. We can look at Polestar. Polestar, PSNY. All right. Another objectively terrible investment. Again, is he out for your best interest or is he just pushing his own agenda on you with his investments? So this is the number 3 example of not great. So that's Ross Gerber, the person. He likes to be in front of the camera. He's entertaining. I mean, what else you want to say? He wishes he was Meet Kevin probably because he really does. I guarantee you he does. I'm surprised he didn't color his hair with Meet Kevin in those videos in the old days. The red or green hair. Yeah. So he has somebody behind him, probably his partner Kawasaki is probably keeping him a little in line. Ross is out there. Now, when Ross was out there, Tesla was booming during the, crazy market of the last few years. And they were like, anybody that wants to come to our firm, come here. We provide wealth management, and they do not have like limits on how much money. They're like, anybody, no matter how much money you have, we will take you on as a client. Let me pull it over. So now we will switch, and I'll timestamp this. So now we'll talk about his ETF more specifically than talking about him, the person. Okay. So he's been, he's a wealth manager, right, from in friggin' California on the beach. So I'm sure he's really successful. So I don't know. I don't have any statements about him, the wealth manager. He might be really good at being a wealth manager. We don't know. We know he's done well with Tesla investment, and GK has been a pile of dog. You know what? So here is GK. So Gerber Kawasaki, he has a partner. They manage people's money. They do wealth building, wealth management, high net worth people. But they take anybody, they said. And one part I'll say, in the initial launch video for GK, he said GK was supposed to be a product for the new clients that would come in that they would get that didn't have enough money to be considered like for real wealth management. Like Schwab has certain services where you need like $100,000 or $1 million to get certain levels of customer service from Charles Schwab, right? So GK probably has the same thing. So what do you do if someone comes in with 20 grand? So he said in his launch video that he privatized that GK was supposed to be a product for those people that would come in as part of their portfolio because they couldn't get customized wealth management because they didn't have enough money. But then he also would talk about how he wanted to be better at being Cathie Wood than Cathie Wood. He always used to mock her, make fun of ARK in 2022, and say he could do a better job at being her than she is. So I'm like, okay, which one is it? Is GK supposed to be a better, stronger, faster version of ARK? Or is it supposed to be a wealth management tool for his lower dollar amount clients that couldn't afford like the full service wealth management? Those are two very different ideas for an ETF. So it's unclear because those videos are gone. But we can look at here's GK now. So it has all these we'll call it like factors basically. So he has all these thematic, it's like themes, right? Basically in the end, it's all Ross Gerber's investment. It's based on his proprietary investing analysis is basically what's in the prospectus. You get proprietary. That's what you get. So it's thematic. So he has these like 11 themes, right? Marijuana, animal wellness, climate change, so other stuff. So he doesn't cover all of them, I don't think. But here they are. Okay, technology, video games, pets, innovation, real estate. But he gets to pick whatever he wants to invest in. It's up to him. So you're investing in Ross Gerber. So he sticks to this, which is a very loose thesis anyways. So you're getting Ross Gerber, the person, if you invest in GK. So it's not really for low dollar amount clients at Gerber Kawasaki, as far as I'm looking at this. And then he says it's a growth fund. We'll compare it to some other growth funds in a minute. The only thing, like some of these themes, I'm just like, they don't make sense. And it's been proven at this point, like the animal pet wellness, that's another one. He was an investor in Petco. Petco was his investment in animal wellness. Terrible investment again. Another example of a investment that it did not work out well for GK. Marijuana is kind of a weird investment. What does marijuana have to do with innovation and climate change? Again, does he just want marijuana in there because he himself likes to talk about it on he gets brought on to interview for marijuana? So is that good for you, the investor, or does he just want to talk about it so he has to have it in his portfolio so he can be interviewed? It's unclear. A lot of this stuff is just strange. Like I've never seen a fund like this, really, an ETF like this. So that's GK. There's notes. They have like management notes, which is new. I don't think he did this before. He had management, so maybe he's not doing the monthly calls anymore. Now that his ETF's not doing well, maybe he's doing it in writing instead of videos. I don't know. So these are like his ramblings about how it's doing. He used to compare it directly at ARK in his monthly calls. He was literally doing like comparison of his performance to the S&P and ARK. So I don't think he's doing that anymore. He's talked about like inflation, interest rates, and that. I have not seen that affect his investments, but you can read this. It's in the manager notes if you want. So we will back test, or where's the summary prospectus? Sorry, there it is. Okay, so like I show you, there's not really much to show. I mean, there's really not much to talk about with his like there's not like the methodologies like some of the other ones I've shown that you can actually look at. Like this is really it. The fund allocates investments based on GK's proprietary research, which identifies top companies, fast-growing, current or future macroeconomic trends in those different theses that we showed. Capitalizes on various newly evolved disruptive investment themes. Stock selection is determined on the sub-advisor's three-part analysis system that rates fundamentals, technical analysis. Oh, isn't that nice? Or technical indicators. I'm sorry. So technical analysis is part of his thesis. I thought that was kind of funny. Historical prices, volume, open interest. I mean, to me, I'm like, none of these selection criteria. There's no history of any of these meeting any performance benchmarks at all. None of these matter. Like to me, like these investment criteria he put here, I don't see what the point of these are. It's in the end, it's just Ross Gerber picking what he wants to buy. If you're going to buy this, that's what it is. Let's not beat around the bush. That's all you get. That's really the prospectus on this thing. Okay, the expense ratio. Oh yeah, you're catching all these things that I've kind of pushed over. Good call. Let me go to it. Where is it? It's on here. Anyways, it is like 1.3, but they are dang, where is it? I had it pulled up. It is like 1.3%, but they've taken a reduction in their fee. I don't for indeterminate amount of time. Okay, hold on. Here we go. There it is. Sorry. So the actual fee is 1.33%. They have taken a fee waiver for now 0.58. So for now it's 0.75. It could, but in reality it's over 1 point or 1%. Yeah. It's for now. So if this waiver goes away though, which I don't know all the ins and outs of who determines that, it might be Ross Gerber determining this waiver. Usually when fund managers come out with new funds, they'll like cut the expenses at first to try and just get inflows of money. You can look at the Bitcoin ETFs are doing that, right? Some of them have cut their fees for the first 6 months to a year. So there's the fees for it, which is extremely high, which you should be avoiding. Extremely high fees. Like that's a lot. So that's what you're getting. You're getting Ross Gerber investing in pet companies, marijuana, climate change, innovation, stuff like that. We can look at some of the holdings they have right now. Nvidia, MGM. You can notice a lot of like it's all over the place. Like there's no sense to this portfolio, which it's just what he wants to be in. You got gambling, chip companies, software companies, Google, Apple, drugs, home builder. You've got Disney. Like, where does Disney fit into his thesis of this fund? Like this is not a very like well constructed investment vehicle. It basically is just he could pick whatever the hell he wants to invest in. The way this thing's constructed, the rules are not limiting him very much. Whereas uh, other funds I've looked at, they're very restrictive on what they can and can't buy. So, what else? We got Vici, Tesla, of course, which he's been selling Tesla. It used to be the number one holding in here, not anymore. Tran, which that's the one actually I have, which would be a good climate change investment that I'm impressed that he actually had this in here. That's a very high level climate change investment, in my opinion. So good for him. Another fab company, another gambling institution. Here's a pet pharmaceutical company, which I don't think he's done terrible with this one, like Petco. AMD. It's just all over. And then cannabis. This used to be a huge holding in here. So I don't know if he lost a lot of money or if he sold some, but this is how he plays marijuana. He does like a sub ETF inside of here. Which of all the investments like he's in, marijuana is the weirdest one. It just doesn't really fit in my mind. Home Depot, again, where does Home Depot fit into his thesis? I don't understand. Like, to me, this is just a random bunch of stocks that Ross Gerber likes, and maybe he's in them so he can go talk about them on television. I don't get it. I think you'd be better off if you want to play like a specific target. Like for me, so I have like broadly diversified indexes, and then I made a specific targeted investment in cybersecurity with an ETF. It's very, very tailored to cybersecurity. It's like 25 holdings in that ETF. That's all it does. I didn't want to do a more diversified cybersecurity investment. There are ones where they kind of bring in some other software companies, like 40 holdings. I wanted a pure cyber play. So it's kind of strange. Like he's just like all over the place here. Like if you believed in AMD and the fabs that he has in here, why wouldn't you just buy like SMH? Would be the Van Eck semi fund. Go buy that if you think that technology part of Gerber's or GK's holdings is that what you want to invest in. There's better vehicles for this. There's probably a better vehicle for the gambling investments he has too at a lower fee. So I don't understand why you'd buy this. High expenses, just all over the place investments. I just don't see it. There's plenty of examples we've given here of things that used to be in GK that did terribly that he's pulled out. So we can back test. So like here's again the ones I talk about. We got person. Hold on a second. He did add Nvidia, Alphabet, Netflix, Apple, Microsoft recently. I don't remember seeing Google, Netflix, Apple. I know he's had Nvidia a while, but it was a smaller, so it must have grown. Yeah, I think those are very recent. I didn't want to get into all the ins and outs of him buying and selling stuff because it's just a lot of time up for the video. But these companies have been on fire and the ETF is getting wrecked. Yeah, that's the other thing. So you look at his fund and you see, wow, he's got all these really great, he's got all like the Mag 7, almost most of the Mag 7. He's got these tech companies. He's on the line, or he's doing it. He's killing it. Go look at the performance. Because his performance is not holding up to the gains of these growth investments. So that means to me that he bought into them after they already ran to some degree, but he's not performing. So his growth, him as a growth investor is not holding up. And we only have like a year and a half. So here's like just a quick example. We'll compare him to two growth funds that I think are great. There's SCHG, mine. There's also the Vanguard equivalent VUG. I could run the S&P growth one, which it's just taking the growth aspects of the S&P 500. I can only run the two. So if we run it since GK, you can see he's doing terribly, right? He's doing absolutely objectively terrible compared to these. And you're paying a higher fee. Okay. So if we're saying you want to be a growth investor, Okay, so here's two of my favorite growth ETFs that are low, very low fee, very diversified for a growth fund. You're not getting 500-600 stocks in a growth fund, which you probably shouldn't in the first place. So these are for growth, very diversified. You can see the performance. I mean, even on a short time frame, like absolutely terrible with GK. Um, and you can look at the Sharpe ratios and the risk adjusted ratios. I mean, terrible compared to these bigger funds. So terrible across the board. Like this is bad, and you're paying way higher fees. Like think about it. Like 0.75 compared to 0.04, like vastly inflated fees to underperform. So, and then the other one I wanted to compare it to. So let's go with, okay, now let's say it's not a growth investment. No, let's say you want a clown market investment. When interest rates go down, you want a clown investment. It's a satellite holding. You want to benefit from the stock market going nuts again if J Powell starts lowering rates. Okay. So in that case, we got GK, we got Meet Kevin's PP, and we got ARK. So let's do the other investment thesis. This is a Cathie Wood replacement ETF. We can look at it. Again, he is underperforming, which is not surprising because Meet Kevin and Cathie Wood's ETFs are clownish holdings, but they stick to their guns. They're not trying to beat around the bush. They know what they are. So those funds are what they are. They are high beta, high volatile, but crazy growth potential investment vehicles with high expenses still. Where Ross Gerber's trying to have this line where he's like, he wants those clownish investments. He wants to crush Cathie Wood, but he's also running a wealth company and he wants to be the responsible dude that goes on TV to talk about various subjects and not be too much of a clown. So he's trying to like thread the needle where the other two are not. Cathie Wood is just who she is. So we can look on the short time frame that these have all existed. Again, GK, terrible, right? And you can even look at like a risk adjusted which with these funds, you should pay attention to the risk adjusted ratios because that's why you're buying these, right? High risk, but you should be high reward. So like they can all be, any fund can be high risk. Okay. But is it risk adjusted where it makes sense for you to buy it? And, no doubt in certain scenarios, you could make a satellite holding investment into one of ARK or Meet Kevin's. Maybe you do well as a satellite, more power to you. I could think about it too. But like if you look at just a risk adjusted, the ratios, again, GK is crap. I mean, if you want to play that thesis with GK, I'd say go with one of these other two. Much better. So there's that side of it. This person tracks some of his buying. So recently he bought MSO and the marijuana. So I guess he thinks that weed companies are going to benefit from this potential Schedule 3 change for marijuana. Who knows? I don't think you should be making huge investments in marijuana if you're running an ETF like this. Honestly, I really don't. But he is. And then he's got Google on a supercomputer, which okay, that's already run quite a bit. So it's kind of is he piling in after it's already skyrocketed? Regeneron, he's been selling Tesla Las Vegas Sands. People track this stuff online. It's called being a diversified Dan. Oof, worst performer. Yeah, it's not great. It's not great in either idea of what GK is. Both scenarios, it's done terribly. So I don't know. Like he's basically a Meet Kevin, and I don't know. Like he's older, but Meet Kevin is objectively. Here's where I'll give Meet Kevin some credit. Meet Kevin's a more successful version of what Ross Gerber would hope he would be. That's the benefit I would give him. So other than that, let's say. So obviously, would I say this is a core satellite holding? I would say it's none. I don't understand why you would buy GK. I really don't. Okay, here. Before I hope I didn't forget this. So this allegedly someone posted this online. They said that one of their family members, so we mentioned that he was willing to take all customers during the clown market. Anybody could come and Gerber Kawasaki would wealth manage their money. So you'd have to imagine that was a huge inflow of customers. And I was thinking at the time when he was like that, I'm like, how is he going to onboard enough qualified financial advisors to handle this huge influx? Because they said they would take anybody that wanted to come to them. And I thought that's what GK was going to represent, was a simple ETF that represented wealth management services for his lower dollar customers. That's why I assumed it was going to be, which I don't think it is. Like I said, it's not. It's him. It's his political agenda, or it's his wants to beat Kathy Wood at her own game. In my opinion, is what he's doing. But this is a person that said their family member went to Gerber Kawasaki to manage their money during the clown market, and they just were wondering. They basically lost inflation. They gave him 113,000, and it only got to 115,000 with all the performance of the market since 2021. They got $2,000 of gain in their portfolio. So he added a picture. Okay, I showed this during one of Strongman's Ryu Rabbles. So this is allegedly what Gerber Kawasaki's wealth advisors gave this customer that would have them they lost the cash basically sitting in a savings account. Let's be real. So if this is what Gerber Kawasaki was prepackaging for like lower, because 100,000 is a smaller customer in wealth management. Okay. But this is such nonsense. If this is what they're packaging for people, like the overlap nonsense of what this is, I couldn't believe. And I understand why Chris hates financial advisors. Holy crap. And my parents use Edward Jones, and I've looked at it. It's not bad. I'm not going to like come out, they're with Edward Jones, and it looks fine. I think it's fine. It got them to retirement. This is like nonsense. You have the technology sector S&P fund from State Street. Okay. Then you have QQQ. Okay. Technology. The overlap here will friggin' make rip your skin off. Then you've got SCHD. Why is SCHD in here? What does that have to do? A California muni bond. So I'm assuming this is a California customer, obviously. Otherwise, why would you buy this? At $100,000 of assets, why do you need a California muni bond investment? I would argue that's a waste of your time. Why are you trying to be efficient with taxes? That's what you worry about when you've got more money than 100,000. So a value dividend fund now. Then we've got more sector specific investment vehicles, financial sector, consumer discretionary. Why are we picking like 3 of the 11 sectors of the S&P 500? Why are we doing this? It's like, for what purpose? But then it gets better. Then you've got this. This is a global ETF. Earth. It's a global ETF. It's the whole world. So it's like VT in a sense, although it's not 9,000 holdings. It's like 2,500 holdings. Same idea though. It's a global ETF. Like more overlap. Like this large cap, low volatility index. Why are we doing low volatility? And we're doing QQQ. So if the customer wanted a lower volatility portfolio, okay, so I'm thinking, okay, maybe they wanted something safer, conservative, muni bonds and low volatility index. But then that's not true though. Why is there 2 technology ETFs in here if that was the case? So there's no sense to this. That makes no sense. And I can understand it if someone can't take volatility. I could understand a conservative portfolio. Like this is like all over the place. Again, we're doing another sector specific ETF. So now we got 4 of the 11, which okay. And then here, small cap equity return. Like, what is this nonsense? I don't know how else to go here. Like, this is the craziest thing. I think we have 6 of the 11 sectors specific ETFs in here, rather than just buying like the S&P 500 as a core holding and then building around that. This is crazy. So allegedly, right? We don't know if this is really what they prepared. This is somebody on Reddit. You can Google this if you want to look at this article yourself. It's still posted as far as I know. You can go find it on Our Investing. So that's there. Other than that, the only last thing I'll say, good point here. Like if I was going to look at this, okay, you want to build your core. Where's Earth? Okay, there's your core. You do Earth. You want to have a global exposure. Like I think this has exposure, even though it doesn't hold the world. It's exposure to like 90 something percent of the world's stocks potentially, but they only hold like a certain percentage. I mean, it seems like it's a higher expense ratio than VT. So, but that's nitpicking. I mean, this would be a fine core holding, and then you could build some satellite holdings of like If they wanted to be more conservative, you could patch, okay, the muni fund, and then maybe you do something that's less volatile. But there's nothing the customer told them that would explain this ridiculous portfolio. Okay. Like, because we don't know what the customer told them, but nothing the customer could have told them would make sense with this thing. Um, but you could have built something okay out of like 5 of these holdings. Like, I don't particularly care for a lot of what they have in here. Um, the sector specific ones are more for like a thematic play. Like if you wanted to play healthcare because of something in macro, or you wanted to play something else, I mean, fine, fair enough. But why would you hold QQQ and the technology specific sector? You would pick one or the other. I don't think it makes much of a difference if you believe in growth and technology. You would have just picked one of these and ran with it. So this tells me whoever picked this, some prepackaged product, they just throw a bunch of overcomplicated crap at you, probably just confuse you. And honestly, they don't really think about, this tells me they didn't really ask what the person wanted anyways. This is probably prepackaged. They just shoot it at people, allegedly, my opinion. So other than that, so let's say, so I've given some growth. You want to be a growth investor. I've given some good ETFs that are low cost and that would get that objective. Let's say you want to be a climate warrior. Maybe you like Ross Gerber because you like his climate agenda. You do believe in climate change as an investment, and not the greedy oil pigs. So you're on Ross's side. Here is something you could consider. State Street has a Paris climate aligned ETF. So the Paris Climate Accord was a supposed agreement from a lot of the world's countries to lower carbon emissions and become, a greener, brighter future for the world. This is only like a 0.12 fee for this fund through State Street, which I like State Street. And more importantly, it's doing fine. If you buy this, are you trying to beat the S&P 500? No, you have an objective with your investments. Let's say your number one goal is to get the best return. If you're buying something like this, you're doing it because of your political beliefs. So here's an option for someone like you. This is a much more responsibly made ETF that you could add to your basket if you want to be a climate change warrior. And it has performed, although not market beating. But if you're going to do something like climate change investing, and then don't expect to beat the market, all right? Because there's times that greedy capitalist pig companies will outperform, and you're willing to accept that if you believe in this stuff. So I don't, but cool if you do. I'm happy for you. There you go. So there it is. That would be an alternative for the climate change that Ross Gerber supposedly pushes. So other than that, that is Ross Gerber. Good. I didn't want to go over an hour. I don't know. Enjoy listening to him and hating him online, I guess, if you want. He's not a fiduciary to you, so there's better ways to do. If you believe in part of what he believes in, there's better ways to invest in that growth or climate change. You can do better investing than his funds, in my opinion. But I don't know about like his wealth. See, the thing with the wealth advisory, I don't know. He might be a fantastic wealth advisor if you have enough money, right? Because he deals with California coastal elites. Maybe if you have $5 million, Ross Gerber could create you an amazing portfolio that will perform well over time. We don't know, right? That product was a lower dollar client of more recent times during when they were just letting anyone come in. So we don't know. And that wasn't Ross Gerber running that portfolio. That was probably some prepackaged ETF thing that they just spit out to customers. Let's see. All that ETF nonsense looks like a salesman's dream. Just confuse the hell out of the customer and have them think you know what you're talking about. That when I saw that portfolio, because someone gave it to me in Discord, the first thing I thought was, this is just to confuse the hell out of you so that you don't ask them questions. And then I'd imagine wealth or advisors get questions when stocks start to run, like Nvidia. Their customers probably call them and be like, "Am I in Nvidia? Why do you not have me in Nvidia? I saw in Mad Money that Jim Cramer loves it and it's skyrocketing. His dog's called Nvidia." So wealth advisors either have to walk you off the cliff or they have to just concede and just put it in your fund, even if it makes no sense. So that basket, that tells me they just threw everything at the person. So to confuse them probably and cover all their bases. Like the California Muni thing, I'm like, that's something that like millionaires should probably think about, I guess. you're trying to accumulate wealth if you're not a millionaire, right? Like your number one priority is not tax mitigation if you have less than $1 million. That's what millionaires need to worry about is tax mitigation. You need to worry about accumulating wealth to retire. So I don't understand why $100,000 portfolio has a muni bond fund in it. Freaking absurd, in my opinion. But is there a pro climate change ETF? Warming the earth. I mean, there was a sin stock ETF. I don't know if it's still around. There was a sin stock ETF where it was like oil companies and tobacco. It was kind of funny. Wait, let me see if it's still there. I think it was just sin. I don't know if you'll find it though. Maybe it was hilarious. It was some goop. I thought it was a joke. Oh, this must be it. Vice. Okay, wait, hold on a second. I think it's not like climate change pot. It's funny though. It's offered by the same people that offer Gerber Kawasaki. Also offer like the opposite. Since what's the holdings? Okay, why does this have Nvidia as a vice? Wingstop, beer, gambling. Okay. Beer, electronics, casinos, Twitch. Okay, wait, why does Church and Dwight, why is that a vice? Baking soda? BTI, okay. I mean, here, this probably's performed better than GK. It'd be funny if it actually did, but who knows? VT less, yeah. Uranium short it and get, is it 10%? Times 10. Funny. So that's there we go. There's Ross Gerber. Have fun. Apparently Tesla people don't like him anymore. We will do, you know what? Now that I'm going to do Gary Black at some point. Not right away, but I want to like I said, I don't dislike Ross Gerber because I understand why he's doing what he does. I understand it, I understand who he is. I don't have to invest in GK. Otherwise, I'm just here for entertainment with him. But Gary Black, man, that dude. I don't like him at all. I really don't like him. Just the way he presents himself and hit the crappy performance of his fund, which I'm sure is even worse than freaking Gerber's. So another guy, and that guy sold his soul to Tesla. Gary Black, unmitigated Tesla shill. At least Ross Gerber's pushed back a few times on Tesla. Gary Black, just nothing, just pure, bent the knee to Elon Musk. He sold his investing soul to get a little bit of publicity. So anyways, that is Ross Gerber. Take it for what you want, in my opinion. Otherwise, okay. I'm going to come back in like 20 minutes. I'm going to do a video on Paul on one minor thing because something bugged me about him this weekend. So I'll be back in a little bit. Okay. So thanks and enjoy and have a good day.